Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Adventure Time, Season 6, Episodes 27 and 28. Yeah, we're back because we're going to be taking a little break from OKKO for a little bit. We will obviously be coming back to that in the future, but we're just taking a break to avoid burnout, as we always do, and getting back to more Adventure Time, as I said I would. So, yeah, we're going to continue from this point forward and go for as long as we go. If we end up finishing Season 6 of Adventure Time, which we should, based on the episode count and everything, we'll go back right after that into OKKO. So, last we left off, we had some interesting stuff happen. Most notably, some stuff with the Lich, or I don't remember what his current identity, quote-unquote, is. The baby, Sweet Pea, that's it, Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea had some inklings of the Lich still in there, and I'm wondering if that's ever going to come back. Now we've still got a little bit of ways to go for this season, so no big ongoing story stuff quite yet. But I'm still excited to see where this goes. A lot of the series is still very episodic. It's most likely going to remain as such. And I'm still excited to see what we have in store going forward, even if there are a few things that I do know about. Just because, this show's been done for a long time now. And people talk. So I'm glad to get back into more of this. We're only doing 2 episodes today. Some weeks we might do 3 or so on. We're just going to kind of take that as it goes, whatever I feel like I'm good for recording at the moment. So sometimes we may get to more episodes than other times. It's just kind of up in the air. They're all half-length, so it's fine in that regard. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see more of the characters and see more as things go. I wonder if we're going to see any more Lemon Grab at any point, because we haven't seen the Lemon Grabs in a while. Or Lemon Hope, or any of those kind of characters. They were pretty notable characters for a while, and it's been a while from what I remember. Even not counting my last grouping of episodes that I did, I just feel like it's been a while in general in the series. Outside of a little cameo appearance in that Jake the Brick episode, and that showed pretty much everyone major. But yeah. So we're just gonna have to see how this goes. We're gonna get right into it. So yeah. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Not that there's really a lot with at least the second episode here that I can talk about, because total mindfuck and just really fucking confusing. But let's talk about episode 27. So we come back to Adventure Time with the return of Martin Mertens, Finn's really shitty father. And yeah, another episode of him being really fucking shitty. So Finn has a weird dream about the comet, definitely hinting towards the future once again. And when he awakes, he finds out he's been sleepwalking for 2 days. He finds himself at this village of small, little, round, Moogle-like people. I don't know. That's just instantly what my mind thought of. They looked like Moogles from Final Fantasy or whatever. Or are they in Final Fantasy? I assume they're in Final Fantasy because they're in Kingdom Hearts. But that's kind of what they reminded me of. Maybe that's just me. But he ends up finding out that his father had crash landed his ship on there. This is something that we had seen before. We had seen his father coming in for a crash landing. So we knew this was going to eventually come into fruition, and it has. So they get to talking, and he's basically enslaved this group of people using the lie that he is a servant of this tree spirit in order to get them to basically help him rebuild his ship so he can get out of there. During this entire time, he is a lying asshole towards Finn, continues to just manipulatively enslave these nice, helpful little creatures, and even makes them think that it's something they want to do. And eventually Finn basically has to save them after his father just like basically says fuck it and just leaves them to their doom. So he saves them, and just everything kind of wraps up with the question of like, okay, so what was that dream about? And kind of, again, leading into the future with all of that. So yeah, it's just we had a little moment where we got a little story from Martin that is implied to possibly be true, because Finn asks Martin about like his past and everything, and earlier in the episode Finn had mentioned something, and he said, "Oh, that's true." Like he was talking about his feelings or something on something. I don't remember exactly what he was talking about. But he said, "Huh, that's true," and it's made a point like he was actually surprised at how true that was. And Martin does the same thing later on in the episode when he's talking to Finn about the story. He talks about the story. He avoids talking about Finn's mom because there's a lot of issues there, I guess. And then he even mentions at the end of the story, he's like, "I always meant to come back for you, but I just never did." And then he says like, "Huh, that's true." And so it kind of implies that his entire story might be true, or maybe it's just that one part at the end about always meaning to come back but just never having done so. But I kind of feel like maybe the story he told is true, because honestly, even though the stuff he said is completely whack and weird, it's Adventure Time. It's all entirely possible. It's not that we got a whole lot of more information or anything. We just found out, I guess Finn was born on a fishing boat. We learned nothing about his mother or anything, but apparently, like, surrounding his birth and everything, there are all these creatures trying to eat him, and Martin was fending them off or something. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that we just don't know regarding the situation, because we're given only very minimal information, only very minimal context. And so if this is true, there's much more we need to eventually find out about it. Then we get into the second of these two episodes, The Mountain. Lemongrab is doing his Lemongrab things. A crack forms on his ceiling. He freaks out, and in his constant state of anxiety, decides to leave for this mountain of Matthew. Finn and Jake end up going there as well after seeing Flame Princess and Cinnamon Bun practicing some routine, which upsets Finn because of, her being his ex and everything. So they end up going into this mountain, and apparently there's this test about choosing right. It gives you 3 options. Three things that your heart may desire, basically. Like for Lemon Grab, for example, we see, oh, Princess Bubblegum wanting to play catch with him. We know that she's basically the equivalent of his mother and everything, and so, like, yeah, sure, something he would desire. The second option we see is Lemon Hope ruling his former subjects and basically like going on about how he's a much better ruler and all. And the third option is the two Lemon Grabs playing with the little like lemon child thing and fighting over it, and Lemon Grab decides to go for the third option just because he doesn't want to see the little guy get hurt, and apparently that eventually leads him to Matthew. But we'll get to that. Finn goes through a trial as well. He sees Flame Princess and Cinnamon Bun, and the idea behind that choice is that he could get inside Cinnamon Bun's body, which is really fucking weird, and I guess take his place and practice and dance and stuff with Flame Princess, which is also really fucking weird and a little creepy. He didn't end up choosing that, mind you, but still. What was the second option? Oh yeah, the second option was having Finn cakes with Jake and BMO. So just basically enjoying everyday life and, you know, just normal things, I guess. And the third option, just some random butterfly. However, the instant it pops up, Finn just jumps at it. He just without hesitation. It's like, oh, okay. He rides it down briefly, and he eventually goes through this little trippy imagery to where he and that Lemon Grab also went through, like crawling on a giant version of himself and stuff. And then he eventually finds his way to Matthew, where Lemon Grab already is. And apparently, people come to this mountain and sacrifice their very being to become part of this core entity. And that apparently, if this is done enough by a certain time period or whatnot, Matthew will become complete, enter his true form, and take over the world or some shit. It's like, what? But Lemon Grab instead decides to destroy Matthew by throwing some of the little lemon johns in him, which causes him to explode into a bunch of kind of formless people, which try to take him out as revenge, but Finn gets him out of there. Lemon Grab goes back to his kingdom thanks to help from Finn and Jake, and just kind of deals. It's very much a what the fuck episode, and it's like, honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less from a Lemon Grab episode. It's kind of what you would want out of his character, because his character just by nature is so what the fuck. And so when you see an episode, it's kind of like, okay, this is what I want to see with his character. It's ridiculous, but kind of in a very entertaining way. You just get into it. You accept the insanity and roll with it. But it's still very blatant insanity. It was enjoyable though. It was an enjoyable start back, and the first of these two episodes did give us some more build up towards the comet that's coming, as well as some more stuff with Finn's father. So there was definitely some great stuff with this set of episodes. Great way to return to the series after a bit of time. So yeah, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of these two episodes of Adventure Time? And we'll just take it from here. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, we'll see how many episodes we react to each week as we go. But yeah, we'll probably finish off season 6 and then return to OKKO. And then we'll get to season 7 at some point in the future. Probably not right away, but some point. So, like I said, though, let me know your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.